Hey, what's up everyone? Today we're going to be covering a very special knife. Some of you might have seen that I had this on my story. It is the next in the TurboJackelope series. Here is a V1 PDN. We're going to be using this here as reference along with my Monarch and Orca. Inside of this case, I have the prototype MBN. I was pretty amazed by this thing. It is a, chain witch, half channel. I don't know what you want to call that. You know, it's like the Tsunami or the Seraph. On the inside here, we'll see that the channel is very big, and I'm going to come back to that later. But there's not a whole ton of meat left in the bottoms. The blade is a sheep's foot with the edge on this side here. This here is, of course, the prototype. There is no edge on it at the moment. Of course, we have party pivots because that's how Turbo goes. Tolerance-wise on this thing, sent to me from Turbo, there is a little bit of play. And that's not like there's any tap. It does, have a little bit of, you can hear the play in it. It's got full swing. Sounds pretty good too. That is, of course, compared to, here's a V1 PDN. This one here is kind of an outlier. This thing is perfect. I love this knife. It's not mine. It actually belongs to Beardo the Weirdo, so this is on loan. Huge thanks to him for letting me borrow it. Oops. As I was saying, here's the sound test. And this thing is rock solid. I mean, there's like a tiny hair of wiggle for the handles, but that's like nothing. Sorry, I'm kind of keeping it basic as I'm underneath my camera here. But for those who had complaints with the PDN, at least the common complaints with the PDN, this knife is for you. Let's start off with some dimensions because those are pretty dang important. Let me my caliper is zeroed. Yep. Sitting at 0. So the PDN sits at a thickness of about 530. If that comes across on camera. 530. And then the MBN for that same measurement is a good bit thinner, sitting at 520. 10 thou doesn't seem like a huge thing, but trust me, definitely feels a lot thinner. Beardo the Weirdo has spent a lot of time with this. He's probably flipped it more than I have. And he says this is like a titanium Kraken, is what he compares it to. Looking at handle length, or well, I guess we'll do, see here what we did with, I don't know what to call this other rotated dimension. But this other dimension is sitting at 5. I guess this would be not length. Scratch that. Height. The previous measurements were height. The 530 for height on this. 520 for height on this. With, I guess, side to side. If you have it flat and you turn it, this measurement, we are sitting at 551. So not super thin. And then on the PDN, we're sitting at a similar measurement at 551. So same in the side to side dimension, different in this dimension. Lengths on them, let's just put them side to side. Same length, same overall length. This PDN is tipped pretty bad, but good for comparison. Now, let's get to weight, because weight's another real important one that people really care about. And then I'll start talking about how they flip. So in ounces, the PDN, we'll start with that because this is the first knife in his series. comes in at 4.640 ounces. And then the NBN is coming in at a 4.327. So about, 0.3 of an ounce lighter, third of an ounce basically. And where is that weight gone? A lot of the weight is on how big this channel is. Let's, I don't know if it comes across super well. Let's get some calipers in there. So the channel width for the blade comes out at 385 roughly. So 385 compared to the PDN or V1 PDN coming in at 0.2 inches. And that's a lot. That's a lot of channel. And then also, there's not a ton of meat inside, like on the slabs, and then there's not a ton left on the bottom of the handle. There definitely is a lot of space for it. I don't know if you can tell via the holes here, but can't even really see the blade through these bottom holes. This one, you can barely see it, same on this one. And the handle gap on this is surprisingly comfy. You will not have an issue. It's not too big. It's not too small. And I would definitely expect it to hold up for a while, for sure. So yeah, weight on the handles on this are basically, it's just, it's just skeletonized. And that means that this is a lot more neutral than the V1 PDN. I have a lot of experience with the V2 PDN as well. This is still more neutral overall. And then also for where the weight lies in, I guess it is somewhat handle biased, but the handle weight or the weight is spread completely throughout the handle compared to just the butts. Where your V1 PDN, I mean, these spacers are kind of chunky and then the handle's nice and heavy already. So you're getting less ass weight on this for an overall light knife. Getting to my critique, going back to that channel width, that was my main issue with the V2 PDN was how wide this channel was, because it's really rough on your fingers. I mean, your finger really sinks down into it, and it isn't exactly the softest edge. If I were going to do something to improve that, I would probably, if you're already milling, let's say you have the slab and you're milling this inside already, imagine this is cut in half. I would leave a good lip right along the inside of the channel. And I guess the thing that you get taken away with that is that you aren't allowed as much slop for play. If the blade has less space that it can wiggle around in, it's going to get tapped a little bit easier. But Turbo's pretty spot on with his bushings. I haven't had any issues with them. And, there's no reason not to. Comparing, I guess, we'll leave the Monarch out of this for now. But that's my critique for this. And I wish it was a tad bit more ass heavy. I do like my weight in the ass, which is a pretty simple fix milling wise, but I can't do anything personally about it. There's no, you didn't do like the Tsunami or the Seraph where there's pins in it, or the Embargo. You're kind of just stuck with what you got. So as much as I dislike that pin system, especially on the Embargo is just a pain in the butt to take apart. But I do wish he did have the pin systems, or he would leave a little more meat and then put a pin in so you could pull the pin out if you want, or, something like that, like an in-between. Trying to think what else. Hardware-wise, these use the same pivot style that almost every American Bally uses. From your Reps, ABs, Civics uses them, NRB uses them, even though they're kind of metric. But it's a 3/16 pivot. I don't know the length on it. I don't really want to take this apart or this apart. 6x32 screws. In the bottom, it looks like 2x56s with a 1/8 inch sex bolt. That is the same hardware style as the PDN. It also uses the same Zen pin style as the PDN with a 1/8 inch stop pin. You can see it's hidden pretty deep in there on the PDN. Monarch and Orca, they don't really have pins in them. It's just the pivots. But I guess my takeaway is if there was one thing I could fix, I guess a little more ass weight and this lip, then this thing's perfect. I mean, this would be, everyone who's handled this has really liked it. And I don't blame them for it. I mean, it's a good knife. My buddy says it flips like a Thai Kraken. I'd agree with him. I'd agree it flips like a Thai Tanto Kraken. I mean, if Squid were to make a Tanto Kraken in titanium, I'd expect it to flip somewhat like this. Mind, this is a prototype. There isn't like really a price on it. I'm expecting, you know, if he keeps the same price point as the PDN, they're probably going to be around 800, 850, maybe 9 depending on some options, or 950 at the highest. The case, I mean, Turbo normally does a custom Labworks case. This is just his pass-around case, an Ace case. But, yeah, MBN, if he starts selling them, buy one. You're going to love this thing. It's dope. This is honestly a very good grail, especially considering, you know, if you're chasing an Orca, you're probably dumping, like, at this point in time, like $1,400, $1,500 for a good one. You got a full channel one, you're probably dumping, you know, $2,400 if you're on the high end. Monarchs are down at like $800, $900 right now, so that's not the worst. I do like the Monarch, but the Monarch is kind of an acquired taste. You have to have your Monarch, you know. Someone else's Monarch ain't gonna be as good as your personal one. You got to find the one for you. This, I think, is a good overall anybody knife. Anyone can pick this up and have fun with it. I guess coming, you know, complete tangent. I know I said the only issues I have are the ass weight in the channel. I do wish the blade shape was a little bit different. I often find myself, you know, ending up on the bite side when I'm not expecting to, because I think it's the safe. Because normally you'd expect, you know, the edge to be on this side, like how the PDN does it, you know, where you have the flat spine. But it's just not like that, you know. If you can imagine, those are pretty similar overall blade shapes. The edges are just on opposite sides. So, yeah. Overall, buy one of these. If he ever decides to make them, I know I sure will. And thank you for tuning in. This is going to be my last video for a while, I think. I am heading up to college out of state, and I'm just not sure if I'll have someplace to record or not. And yeah, thank you for your time. If you want to leave a like, greatly appreciate it. If you want to leave a comment, I read them all. You know, I go through my comments pretty often, I respond to all of them, or I'll like them, you know, show that I actually read the dang thing. And yeah, have a good rest of your day, night. I don't know when I'm posting this, but go crazy.